2020 has been a true dumpster fire of a year. We've had devastating fires and the ongoing global bastard, to name but a few things. It's been a weird time to be a wrestling fan, and probably even weirder time to be a wrestler. While some have achieved career milestones in 2020, in front of as many people as turned up as to my 8th birthday party, others an absolute mare. Their stock has taken a nosedive in 2020, and things do not look too promising for next year either. It'd be so easy to lay 100% of the blame at the door of WWE Creative too, but that would be false. Talent themselves must take some responsibility for the crappy year they've had thus far. So what's going on? Why have these obviously skilled performers backpedaled spectacularly? Is it as easy as bemoaning that Vince McMahon doesn't have his finger on the pulse anymore? Yeah, but are there serious flaws to each individual's work that need addressed? Also, yeah. With that in mind, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture, and these are 10 WWE stars who've gone backwards in 2020. Number 10, Ricochet. Ricochet isn't a world-class talker, but he is a world-class literally everything else. That's it. That is the guy's biggest problem in WWE. Is this fair? Some would argue that it's not, but it's not like Vinnie Mac demanding larger-than-life personality from his workers is anything new. In this company, the promo is king, and so Ricochet's kind of laid-back, tentative delivery doesn't really cut it. He's gone from challenging Brock Lesnar for the WWE title, and that went well, to being background noise in a thrown-together tag team, and latterly playing crash test dummy for beatdowns from the Hurt Business. Things look so promising when calendars turn to 2020. None of that promise, though, has been fulfilled. Ricochet is just sort of existing on a jam-packed roster. He's rarely given time to showcase his skills in ring anymore, and WWE blatantly don't like putting a mic in his hands. It's kind of tough to see where he goes from here. Number 9, Lacey Evans. WWE didn't know how to book Lacey Evans as a convincing, likable babyface. She's not the only one who suffered that fate, though it was alarming to see military mom Lacey become so saccharine and safe after calling everyone in her path a big fat nasty. After giving up on those babyface dreams, WWE returned Evans to her more familiar heel role, and then proceeded to do absolutely nothing with her. This is a girl who once headlined pay-per-views and got in Becky Lynch's face on the weekly. Nowadays, she's more prone to do some dodgy karaoke or work 3-minute TV bouts, or inexplicably become mates with Peyton Royce. Ain't nothing graceful about this form. Nobody could state with a straight face that Lacey is Asuka between the ropes, but she's not nearly as bad as some critics on social media harshly claim. Besides, she's a good talker and shouldn't be someone WWE give up on. Number 8, the Riott Squad. Liv Morgan looked like she was going places late last year. Her vignettes were tinged with darkness, and it seemed Liv might finally break out of the Riott shadow to become a standalone success story. So much for that, and so much for the sensationalistic claims that she was romantically linked to Lana too. The Squad are back together, and they're cannon fodder in the women's tag team title scene. Honestly, there's nothing to like about this regurgitated act. They'll probably get a title run at some point, and it'll be as unmemorable as other female tag sprints. Number 7. King Corbin. 2019's King of the Ring went from feuding with Roman Reigns during the first few months of the year to jobbing for Elias via roll-up at WrestleMania 36, and then he traded that spot for, sod all. Corbin has barely been on pay-per-view since Mania. What happened? The internet hates Corbin, obviously, but he's a solid mid-card heel who can slip into an upper mid-card slot when needed. He's strong on the mic and excels when he's in there with the right opponents. Still, the King has gone backwards in 2020. WWE's latest attempt to give him some sizzle, the whole King's Ransom thing, seems to have been scrapped too. What was the bloody point then? It didn't help introduce Riddle, didn't make Corbin look like a vindictive heel, and didn't even give auxiliary players like Shorty G any purpose either. Number 6. Andrade. How have they ballsed this handsome bastard up? Well, English isn't the Mexican's first language, which is why Zelina Vega was so essential to his act in the first place. On NXT, the pair came across as superstars who could take over the world. Fast forward to late 2020, and it seems Zelina has more of a chance on her own. That is sad, and it leaves Andrade in limbo. He hasn't kicked on at all since feuding with Rey Mysterio and becoming United States champ last year. It's been a gradual descent for El Idolo, and he absolutely will not thrive if he's expected to do his own public speaking. Number 5, Aleister Black. The dark and brooding mystique, that thumping metal theme by his real-life favorite band, some satanic imagery that gave him an edge, that coffin-led entrance which really helped him stand out, the snappy black mass finish that was both believable and dazzling. Aleister Black had a lot going for him. It wasn't enough for WWE, apparently. Black has been turned into a standard middle-of-the-pack heel. WWE changed his instantly recognizable music and stuck a headband over one eye, and put him in leather tights rather than trunks. It's supposed to be a sign of progression when wrestlers change up their look, but that's not true when it comes to Aleister. If anything, he's coming across as less of a must-see star than before, and his pick a fighter saga dragged on for far too long as well. Number 4, Drew Gulak. Earlier this year, Drew Gulak was tied to Daniel Bryan and looking every bit like he'd enjoy a sustained run in SmackDown's tag team title division. WWE could have sat on that alliance until later in the year before booking ye old split angle between the technical wrestling loving pals. Maybe that would have happened had Gulak not been unceremoniously dumped during the mass releases in April. He was brought back into the fold by May, but hasn't really come close to matching the natural synergy he enjoyed with Bryan. WWE's only plan for Drew since then has been sticking him in the lowly 24/7 title chase. A few reigns with the comedy belt don't come close to matches like that grappling stunner with DB at Elimination Chamber, or the potential they had as everyone's favorite ex-ROH Evolve combination on Friday nights. Don't hold out much hope that things are going to get better for him. Number 3, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley started the year as NXT Women's Champion and had everything going for her. WWE's decision makers took full notice and decided to give Rhea a featured spot against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 36 in the spring. That, strangely, would prove to be a negative turning point for her career. Ripley dropped her belt to Flair at Mania and then took some time off due to visa issues. When she returned, Rhea slid right back into the challenger role, but came up short when WWE crowned Io Shirai the new champ at TakeOver in Your House. Ripley is another NXT standout who badly needs to sink her teeth into something new. She could be the biggest female worker on the planet if WWE utilize her correctly. Of course, the key word there is if. Number 2, Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler's second reign as NXT Women's Champion, as I mentioned earlier, came to an end in December at the hands of Rhea Ripley after an incredible 416 days. She had a roller coaster start to 2020, looking great in the Rumble before getting eliminated by Charlotte Flair. Then she became a vampire for a bit, murdered everyone in the Elimination Chamber, and then lost to Becky Lynch at WrestleMania via, you guessed it, a sodding roll-up. Shayna has been on a downward spiral ever since that mind-blowingly dumb Mania call. A bit part player in the Money in the Bank match, she disappeared for a few months, only to return and form a wacky odd couple team, not many of those about, with Nia Jax, the highlight of which is Nia putting Lana through a table every week. Yeah, she's a tag team champion, but it's a far cry from where she was last year. Speaking of which, number 1, Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston was WWE champion for most of 2019. That was the culmination of a decade-long journey, and his Mania 35 win over Daniel Bryan remains one of the most heartfelt moments in recent company history. Since shedding the belt to Brock Lesnar in about 8 seconds, a year ago though, Kofi has done, well, next to nothing. He retreated back into a tag team role alongside his New Day brethren before latterly stepping aside to rehab a back injury and let Big E take center stage on his own. The latter plot point, whilst a nice touch, shows where Kingston is at post-title run. He'll never get that loftier spot as a singles performer again, at least not for as long. Kofi's only hope for another world title feud hinges on WWE deciding he should show up as a challenger in the future. Kingston held the top prize for 180 days last year, but it's almost like that never happened. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can let us know your thoughts on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and you can follow me at Adam Wilborn. Thanks for watching. I've been Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.